Hello, good evening to you and welcome to News 360. We are live from the News Hub at Adisawe, Kanda. I'm Natalie Fort.
I am Isa Moni. Coming up now, the headlines for this edition.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by...
And the headlines, NPP youth attack Wa Municipal Chief Executive's residence.
Also ahead this evening, riots by students of the Jama Pensan Senior High Technical School in the Ashanti region leave several school property destroyed.
And Parliament to issue a memorandum on resumption inviting comments from the public on the President's nominee for the Special Prosecutor position.
Also in the bulletin tonight, we bring you some sound bites from the departed diplomat and politician KB Asante.
At school, we learned to stand up to attention when the national anthem was being played. It is a respect which, in fact, you give to yourself and to your nation.
In the Business, Monetary Policy Committee of Bank of Ghana maintains policy rate at 20%.
And on the international front this evening, former footballer George Opongwea sworn in as Liberian president. We've got the details of these stories for you here on News 360, including the latest from the world of sports entertainment. And as always, we're streaming live all across the world on 3news.com, as well as TV3 Ghana on Facebook. Start off with our very first story this evening, and some irate youth suspected to be members of the New Patriotic Party in Wa have attacked the residence of the municipal chief executive Isaku Tahiru Mumin over issues related to the polling station elections in the area. No arrests have been made, but the police say it is investigating the violent destruction of property to bring the perpetrators to book.
Windows and doors at the MCE's Baguri residence were smashed by the rampaging youth who alleged Mr. Mumin's interference in the ongoing polling station elections within the municipality. Other property, including furniture, electronic gadgets, kitchenware, and petty consumables, were scattered about on the compound after the attack. The MCE was not present when the youth forced themselves into the premises. His wife and two visitors were, however, reported to have been at home. Two other party executives in Wa Central constituency have also been attacked on their separate properties at Wa Zongo. The police say they are yet to make any arrest, but have launched an investigation into the violent destruction of property to bring the characters behind to book. In recent times, the MCE, who was the NPP's parliamentary candidate for Wa Central during the 2016 general elections, and the party's constituency chairman, Ali Kamara, have traded accusations over their separate commitment to the capture of the parliamentary seat.
And a riot by students of the Jama Pensan Senior High Technical School has left several school property destroyed. The students went on rampage after the headmaster's decision to ban students from engaging in entertainment activities. A report by Ashanti regional correspondent Ibrahim Abubakar.
The students, following the school management's decision, embarked on a protest calling for the immediate removal of the headmaster after the ban on engaging in entertainment activities. The protest led to the destruction of school property, including a newly installed computer server, the headmaster's official bungalow and vehicle. The louver blades of school dormitories and that of the senior housemaster were also destroyed. A number of parents stormed the school premises to demand the immediate release of the award. They claimed the safety of the award could not be guaranteed. But after an emergency meeting between school authorities, the Regional Education Directorate and DISEC, they resolved not to close the school. Head of the Kwabre East District Security Council, Nana Osei Esibebonsu, says a committee has been set up to investigate the incident and submit its report by Friday.
There's also a van going around telling the students that they should come back. But what we put in place is that they should come with their parents, so that they come and sign a bond to be of good behavior. So taking in all the measures, make sure that the school at least resume tomorrow for academic work to start.
He cautioned students to refrain from violent protests anytime there is a misunderstanding between them and school authorities.
Let's turn to some other top stories this evening. President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is doing well on his medical leave and would return soon to resume his duties. These were the words of the Information Minister Mustafa Abdul Hamid at a media briefing in Accra to address pressing national issues which occurred over the weekend.
Vice President Dr. Bawumia was unwell Friday morning and was given medical attention, but had to be flown to the UK upon the advice of his doctors. Though the exact ailment the Vice President is battling with is yet to be disclosed, he assured Ghanaians Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will be back shortly to resume his duties.
We wish to report that he's doing very well. The Chief of Staff and other senior government officials have been talking to him. God willing, he'll be back home shortly to resume his duties.
The minister further debunked information purported to have been released by the Controller and Accountant General, Eugene Ofosuhene, that January salaries of public sector workers will be delayed.
I wish to state that it is fake news and should be disregarded. The Controller and Accountant General has sent payment advice of public sector workers to their various banks last Friday, 19th January 2018.
On the debt owed Get Fund contractors by government, Mr. Abdul Hamid stated that government had settled the bulk of its indebtedness to the contractors, adding that the outstanding bill of 367 million cedis will be cleared in due course.
We wish to reiterate that everything that the President said at his press encounter last Wednesday was a true reflection of the state of government indebtedness to contractors generally. 838 million was what was owed specifically to Get Fund contractors. 470 million out of that amount has been paid to them. There is an outstanding bill of 367 million to be cleared. So surely the bulk of what was owed to Get Fund contractors has been paid.
And 93-year-old former secretary to Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, has died. Tough-talking KB Asante will be remembered for his very strong views on diplomacy, education, and the Dangme legacy. Komla Kruche has the following report.
Born on March 1, 1924, KB Asante also served as the principal secretary at the African Affairs Secretariat from 1960 to 1966. He became Ghana's ambassador to Switzerland and the United Nations offices in Geneva and the UN establishment in Vienna, and also the ambassador to Australia from 1967 to 1972. He also served as the ambassador to Belgium, Luxembourg, and the European Economic Community from 1976 to 1978, retired from the civil service in 1978 to form the Social Democratic Front to contest the 1979 election, from which his party won 3 parliamentary seats.
At school, we learned to stand up to attention when the national anthem was being played. It is a respect which, in fact, you give to yourself and to your nation.
He never missed an opportunity to deliberate on national issues.
It's a bush way of doing things. It's not correct. The minister comes, he is given all the wherewithal to do his work, and he does his work. When he's going, he leaves the car. In fact, the car is never his property.
KB Asante attended a Chimoto school where he later taught mathematics from 1945 to 1948 with a block named in his honor.
African Union would have to cooperate with Europe.
A passionate politician and diplomat. His last interview with TV3 was on a racist slur by U.S. President Donald Trump.
You see, such stupid statements you should ignore. The man, there's something wrong with the man, I suppose. Even if there isn't, they leave him alone to make his foolish statements.
How do you want African leaders to react to?
They should
This is not the first time. This is not the first time he's making such a statement. He makes certain statements which are derogatory. How would you want African leaders? So we should just totally forget about it, even though calls are coming that he should retract and apologize.
Well, if his sensible is, he will retract. He will say, "I'm sorry," and change what he has said, but he may not.
The body of KB Asante, just in there, he has been driven off. That's the son, and he's shot there. Just this morning, we are told the retired diplomat KB Asante is no more. His body has just been taken away from his home. The Lashibi Funeral Homes is where he would be kept until some arrangement of the sort is said. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Accra.
We're sure that his legacy certainly lives on. But let's turn to Parliament now, as Parliament issues a memorandum inviting comments from the public on the President's nominee for the Special Prosecutor position. Former Attorney General Martin Amidou, who's been nominated by the President, is expected to be vetted by the Appointments Committee.
Members of Parliament will resume on Tuesday, January 23. The House, which has been on a month break, is expected to deal with a number of issues on resumption. Key among them is the vetting of the President nominee for the Special Prosecutor position.
I think with the vetting is that it takes a process. The nominations will come to Parliament. We will invite memos and contributions and whatever the public has, with regards to the nominee, that will be done. If there is anything, the background sessions and all those things will happen before the actual hearing that we all see, the public hearing happens. So we are ready. We are holding ourselves in readiness for when the wheel starts running.
Martin Amidou will have to be approved or otherwise before he can take office. The 5-member committee probing the cash for seat saga will also be expected to conclude their probe and present their reports to the House. One other issue the House will be dealing with will be the fate of the 2 former Guantanamo Bay detainees. The President, during the media encounter at the Flagstaff a week ago, indicated the fate of the 2 former detainees will be made known on resumption of Parliament. A number of bills, instruments, motions and debates as well as papers are to be introduced and laid.
We're also expecting the Conduct of Public Officers Bill 2018 that also will be introduced at some point. The Companies Bill will be introduced at some point. National Employment Bill 2018 is also expected to be introduced. The Land Bill 2018 will also be introduced, and then the Wildlife Bill 2018 are among some of the bills that will be introduced as the year progresses.
The longest standing bill, the Right to Information Bill, is expected to be reintroduced.
A lot of work was done on it in the last Parliament, and we're expecting that as the life of this Parliament rolls out, it will be reintroduced at some point. We have a business committee that sets the agenda, and also we have procedures for how bills are generated. The Right to Information Bill, like you rightly said, was extensively talked about in the 6th Parliament, and a lot of work was done on it in that Parliament. Unfortunately, with the death of that Parliament comes the inflection of time, so the bill goes into abeyance.
In all, 55 bills and 25 instruments, and a number of Speaker's directives, which are currently at the committee's level, are to be worked on in the 2nd session of the 7th Parliament.
And the former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Professional Studies, Professor Joshua Alabi, has urged the former President John Dramani Mahama not to contest the National Democratic Congress flag bearership race. The former Vice-Chancellor is of the view John Mahama has had his opportunity and it's time for others to lead. We'll bring you excerpts of an interview that will air on New Day on Wednesday, January 24.
Not aware.
And I'm saying that
I'm not aware that the former president, John Mahama, has told anybody that he will stand.
Would you rather he doesn't contest?
Well, I will buy into the idea where he allows others to also lead the party and then he gives the necessary support. with all his background, rich experience and everything. The party has a lot of people who can lead. The party has trained a lot of people for many years, right? He was given an opportunity, and I respect that. He's done very well from my point of view, and the need also to allow others also to compete and come up with his support and the support of Jerry Rawlings, the support of the elders of the party. Then the party will now move.
Now, government, through the Controller and Accountant General, has transferred 3.1 billion cedis to the registered schemes of the 12 labor unions. The amount is expected to be invested into bonds and other securities to benefit pensioners who will retire this year. But the 12 labor unions say they will scrutinize the process to ensure equity.
Government directed a transfer after its meeting with the 12 labor unions in December last year. In December, the two parties agreed that the transfers should be done by January 5 this year. 3 weeks later, government through the Controller and Accountant General's Department has directed a transfer of 3.1 billion cedis to the schemes. The amount is generated from the Temporary Pension Fund account, TPFA, from the Bank of Ghana. But leadership of the 12 labor unions have indicated its intention to audit the amount released to ensure transparency.
We are now going to scrutinize the estimates that were given us to ensure that nobody is shortchanged. So we trust the figure. Well, we work with government to come up with 3.1, but we are also aware that because we are dealing with data, there have been 1 or 2 issues that the data will have to be cleaned.
However, there are outstanding issues about reconciling data with government and also paying past credits, which represents benefits meant for contributors prior to passage of the Pensions Act 766. The unions again said it has agreed to accept 100% past credit instead of the 75% proposed by SNET.
Initially, MPRA with SNET had decided that they were going to give us 0.75% of T-bill for our past credits, which we rejected. But upon negotiations, I think government has now agreed to give us 100% treasury bill rate for our past credit. We want to thank the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, for keeping his promise and making sure that these monies have been transferred. In fact, we are really grateful to him.
Government has described the attack on the Kwabenya police station as an isolated incident that is being dealt with by the security agencies. Information Minister Mustafa Abdulhamid maintained the preventive mechanism of the police service remains intact.
A gang of suspected armed robbers on Saturday attacked the Kwabenya police station and freed some 7 inmates after killing a police officer.
Government condemns the criminal conduct of these elements in the strongest possible terms. Government takes this opportunity to express its deepest sympathies to the family of the deceased policeman, Inspector Emmanuel Ashilevi. While this is one of the isolated incidents that have unsettled the Ghanaian population, we wish to continue to assure the Ghanaian people that the security agencies are working to ensure the general safety of the population.
The police service after the incident are on a manhunt for the suspects, comprising 6 Guineans and a Nigerian. Mustafa Hamid assured that the police service will prevent the recurrence of such attacks.
The preventive mechanism of the police service remains intact, which helps to nip such occurrences in the bud before they become full-blown criminal activity. As everywhere else in the world, certain criminal elements manage to once in a while beat the system in order to perpetuate their crimes. When this occurs, the police service has worked hard to arrest the perpetrators and make sure that they face justice.
Right, then on this issue, we are going to speak to Nanayao Akwada. Nanayao is the Executive Director at the Bureau of Public Safety. Good evening, Nanayao, and thank you for joining us.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
All right, so the Minister of Information says the attack is a case in isolation and there's no cause for worry. Do you share his view?
Unfortunately not. I do not share his view, and I doubt if any person who applies himself in the field of public safety will share that view. as an isolated incident, because I indicated yesterday, and let me reiterate again, that between 2015 and 2017, we've had incidents involving cell escapes, police station attacks, facilities being touched, and so on and so forth, littered across the country. Yesterday was, a more heightened situation where people will actually plan, storm a police station, and free suspects, if you like, dangerous suspects and that. So to that extent, we will not agree. What the minister said may have been said in a bid to assure citizens, but we think that in the bid to assure citizens, we must be factual. Our assurance must be based on facts. They must be verifiable. And to that extent, we think that he is not being truthful to the facts. Having said that, I also think that in situations like this, the minister should not be the one running to the media. Ideally, we want to hear from the head of the police service, we want to hear from the Minister of Interior, we want to hear from National Security Minister. At least in that case, then such people may be speaking to the facts, and it assuages our pain more, it builds a lot more confidence, both within the service and within the Ghanaian populace.
Okay, then people appear worried with the latest happening. So who provides security for the police service?
I beg your pardon, I did not pick that question.
Yeah, the question is that the police are supposed to protect us, right? But they are being attacked. So who provides security for the police?
That's quite interesting. Well, I mentioned yesterday, and once again, I want to reiterate it, that the police are our, if you like, the last line of defense for the citizens or as citizens. So when the police comes under attack, it is important that the police service themselves sit up and look at their modus operandi. They should review their system, in which case I'm making reference to the cell systems. They should review the kind of the rules of engagement that govern police personnel who take care of such facilities where there are cells and with people, suspects held behind bars. These things must come under review. The police themselves must be trained to continue taking intelligence. I think the process of gathering intelligence for the police in recent times it's not as encouraging as we used to know when we were kids. Those were the days when there were police officers in plain clothes who do not just go about mingling with the people, but they pick up intelligence. I think the police must also do some more in the area of intelligence gathering. But in the immediate term, it's important that the IG and his commanders review all protocols governing police stations with cell facilities and know what sort of engagement are going to be for people who remain behind at the close of day, or people who are charged with ensuring that people that the court system have requested that they are kept behind bars and to wait off the streets are ideally kept so.
Yeah. So the last question is Hydra-headed, right? The first one is we think that we are being protected by the police, but now it looks as if we have been stripped naked. Now there's no security for Ghanaians, because if the armed robbers can attack a police station, how much more as individuals in our homes? And also, do you agree that people think the nature of the attack suggests that the location and how open the police station was is not really good for the police service, and they need to look at their structures again?
I will not agree in total. If you study the mindset of criminals, or those who have done the study of how criminals think, they do a lot of preparation. So it will not matter where you site a facility. If they are bent on attacking that facility, they will put in place the necessary measures, clinical measures, to make sure that they have a successful, attack. To that extent, we think that the police must constantly, be on the lookout. They must have, as we said, they must review and put in place measures so that when such attacks arise, they will be met with the right kind of firepower and fury. And when criminals know that if they undertake such ventures, no matter the outcome, the long arms of the law will come fetching them. They would rethink their actions. But for as long as we remain in a country that 20% of all cases are the ones that are investigated and closed, criminals will continue to be emboldened until such time that we reverse the statistics.
We are grateful for your time, Nana Yao Akwada, Executive Director of the Bureau of Public Safety. Thank you for speaking to us.
Interview is brought to you by MTN, everywhere you go.
Let's stay on matters of security this evening. Now, he died in line of duty. He died ensuring that people are protected, and his death comes as a blow to the entire nation and the police service in particular. Those were the words of the Director General of Police Public Affairs Directorate, ACP David Senanu Eklu, when he arrived at the crime scene where Inspector Emmanuel Aslevi met his untimely death.
The nation woke up Sunday morning to the news that a police officer had been killed after armed men attacked the Kwabenya District Police Headquarters. They reportedly freed 7 of 13 inmates in the police cell. The deceased Inspector Emmanuel Aslevi was one of the longest-serving members of the Syria ECHO, the anti-armed robbery squad of the Accra Regional Police Command. He had been recently posted to the Kwabenya Police Station as the commander. Family and friends kept trooping to the Kwabenya District Police Station late Sunday. The Director General of Police Public Affairs Directorate, ACP David Senunu Eklu, sees his death as a heavy blow to the service.
It is an unfortunate situation. Ghanaians should be worried that we have lost such a hard-working inspector, especially those around Kwabenya and Ashoma area. Very hard-working and very committed to his job. He died in line of duty. He died to ensure that people are protected. We call for the public to help us get these people behind bars.
A family member, William Amwakon, said he got the news through a media report which he described as having been unprofessional.
Very sad. We couldn't believe it. Not until I see the body before I would believe that yes, truly Iman was shot. We're all devastated. We're all feeling bad, and because he's a breadwinner of the family.
The death of Inspector Emmanuel Aslevi is one of the many cases of attacks on personnel of the security agencies, a worrying trend which must be tackled.
And you're still live here on News 360 from the News Hub. We've got the latest of news from the world of business in a few moments' time. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. On to some business news this evening. We start off with the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana, which has maintained the policy rate at 20%. Addressing the media, Governor of the Central Bank, Ernest Addison, noted the decision is to ensure that the inflation target of 8.2% is achieved by the end of the year. 2017 witnessed a decline in headline and core inflation, allowing for a cumulative cut of 550 basis points in the policy rate to end the year at 20%. The committee observed emerging pressures and underlying inflation for the last 2 months of the year. Governor of the Central Bank, Ernest Addison, noted leading indicators monitored by the bank reveal the revised end-of-year projected GDP of 7.9% is attainable.
The non-oil sector of the economy is also rebounding after the sluggish performance in the first half of the year, supported by continued improvements in the economic fundamentals and improved investor confidence. And to ensure that inflation target horizon is maintained and the medium-term inflation target of 8 plus or minus 2% is achieved this year, the committee decided to maintain the monetary policy rate at 20%.
On the introduction of virtual currency into financial transactions, the governor cautioned Ghanaians Bitcoin is not yet legal tender in the country, but expressed confidence the digital payments bill will be passed by Parliament. The prices of Ghana's 3 major commodity exports recorded mixed developments last year, with crude oil prices gaining the most on the bank. The prices of Ghana's 3 major commodity exports recorded mixed developments last year, with crude oil prices gaining the most on the back of geopolitical tensions. In the first few weeks of the year, crude oil prices have firmed up above $60 per barrel, the highest since 2014.
Diversifying the economy more obviously would improve resilience and our ability to handle any adverse movements from the 3 prices.
Gold prices also performed better than anticipated, while cocoa prices were depressed in 2017. The next MPC meeting is scheduled for March 21, 2018, when the rate would be reviewed. On to some other business news this evening. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Tremantin, wants more private sector investors to partner government in its industrialization drive. Speaking at the Dawa Industrial Zone in Accra, the minister said it is only through the establishment of industries that jobs will be created for the teeming youth of the country.
The industrial park is designed to host a wide range of light and heavy industries across various sectors, including agro-processing, garments and textiles, logistics, materials and metal fabrication. At full capacity, the Dawa Industrial Zone is expected to host more than 100 companies and directly employ over 15,000 people. On a working visit, the sector minister, Alan Tremantin, lauded managers of the facility and promised government support.
Within the next 2 years, these industrial parks will become the attraction all over the world, and that we can bring in private sector anchor customers who then can support government in its industrialization drive. Even though this is a private sector investment, I can assure you that we will work with you, we'll facilitate this investment and actually do the promotion of this investment jointly with you.
A 400 MV substation under construction is expected to be commissioned in August.
We aim to provide first-class facilities for any investor from anywhere in the world that is looking for a one-stop destination where you just come in and put in your factory and start working. So we take away the burden of going to look for land, preparing a road to your place, looking for water, looking for electricity or fiber optic data facilities. All those things are done by LMI Holdings.
Some industries, including Atlantic Concrete, which manufactures concrete sleepers for Ghana's railway company, have begun taking up positions in the park.
Underground material platform on which the railway sits on to move. In Ghana, we use the wooden one now currently. When you go to the railway lines, you see the wooden ones lying. That's what we call the railway sleeper. But we are bringing in the concrete one, getting rid of the wooden one because of the advantage that the concrete one presents.
The Dawa Industrial Zone is a 2,000-acre facility and is located on the Accra-Aplao Road.
Now, Deputy General Manager at GCNet, Emmanuel Darko, says steps are being taken to address some challenges facing the paperless system. He said the problems of data transfer are being reviewed and would be streamlined before the end of this quarter.
GCNet and its partners in September last year began rolling out the paperless system at the country's ports. The system is expected to minimize human interference, eliminate delays, and inject efficiency in cargo clearance. 5 months on, the project has run successfully. However, some challenges has been encountered, which includes the transferring of data from one service provider to the other. The Deputy MD of GCNet assured the problem will be fixed within the first quarter of this year.
Some of them still linger, and those are some of the things that need to be reviewed that
that process is streamlined. Like every system, what they call patches or version 1 of the deployment, or there has to be maybe a version 2 of the deployment. The technical committee is looking at it. So hopefully within the 2018 first quarter, some steps will be taken to streamline the process.
He said through the deployment of its Total Revenue Integrated Processing System, TRIPS, revenue collection was improved by some 30%.
This year, there has been greater deployment more across the country, and that has impacted upon revenue. For instance, as much as about 15.5 billion has been collected, almost about a 30% increase in revenue. The challenge this year is that the game has been upped. They have to collect approximately about 39.9 billion. We all have to strategize to ensure that what are the things that we could do, maybe within this first quarter, to ensure that we'll be able to deliver.
And that's it for the business news this evening. There's more business news on our website. Just visit 3news.com. Next is all the news from the world of sports with Michael Otieje. Stay with us.
Good evening, welcome to the sports news here on News 360. My name is Michael Otieje. And let's cut straight to chase because as has been reported in the last few hours, Manchester United have signed Alexis Sanchez from Arsenal in a swap deal that takes midfielder Henrik Mkhitaryan to Arsenal. The 29-year-old has signed a 4.5-year deal. United's signing of Sanchez, who will wear the number 7 shirt, was announced on the club's Twitter account, with him playing Glory Glory Man United on a piano. He has scored 80 goals for the Gunners since joining them from Barcelona for £30 million in July 2014 and was last season's top scorer with 30 goals in our competition. Mkhitaryan, who is also 29, moves in the opposite direction to Sanchez after scoring 13 goals in 63 appearances for United. He has made only 10 Premier League starts this season, and it is understood there was a breakdown in trust between him and Jose Mourinho. Mkhitaryan scored once and contributed 5 assists in 15 Premier League appearances this season. And as you know, this has to be one of the richest deals in club football in a mighty long while. He will become, by most reports, Manchester United's highest earning player. He will be on £27 million a year before tax. The transfer fee involved is above £30 million. He has been reportedly being paid a signing-on fee of £20 million. The agent involved in the deal will receive a staggering £10 million. And Mkhitaryan himself will be earning, by most estimates, something in the region of £400,000 every week. £400,000 every week. The sum total of the deal is reportedly £180 million over the period. On to the next story. That mixes a lot of politics with sports because George Weah has completed his remarkable journey from star player to president of Liberia and promised to deliver tangible changes to the country with the Liberia people as part of a big team during his swearing-in ceremony in Monrovia.
George Weah made his name wowing crowds and dazzling in stadiums around the world. Today, he fulfilled a lifelong dream by taking his oath of office in a stadium with a packed crowd full of hope and expectation that the man who conquered the world as a football star can lead Liberia to conquer the many problems setting it back as a country. Decked in an all-white kaftan, the former AC Milan and Chelsea star admitted this was a stadium appearance on a different level.
I have spent many years of my life in stadiums, but today is a feeling like no other. I am overwhelmed with the crowd and the energy here today, and I guarantee you, when we finish, there will not be a winner or the loser. Today we all wear the jersey of Liberia, and the victory belongs to the people, to the peace, and to our democracy.
Weah will now hope he can translate the immense pride his football career gave Liberians and the subsequent votes into tangible progress as a country.
And as to be expected, there was significant football feel to the swearing-in ceremony in Monrovia. Many of Weah's teammates and opponents were in attendance. And sports journalist Osasu Obayuwana, who was in the crowd as well, says the impression that this was a football occasion was significant.
Well, it's certainly been a grand occasion at the Samuel Canyon Stadium in Monrovia. The stadium was packed to capacity. The crowds were heaving with expectation as George came into the stadium, where he got a resounding round of applause. And I have to say that it was very, very clear that the people of Liberia are very pleased with the new president they're having. Several football personalities came to grace the occasion. Mohamed Kalon, the former Inter Milan player, was here. So was Taribo West. The multiple African Footballer of the Year, Samuel Eto'o, was also here. And JJ Okocha too. In addition to that, you had a delegation from CAF, which included the CAF president, Ahmad Ahmad, and many members of the CAF executive committee, including the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyantakyi, and also Penny Kamaju, the Nigerian FA president. So the event was very well attended indeed.
Osasu Obayuwana, who was in attendance at the Samuel Doe Stadium in Monrovia, with that report on how the swearing-in ceremony went. Now, we, of course, is not the first sports star who's taken to politics. We just will give you a brief idea of some of those who have also done that. Remember Romario, 1994, the star as Brazil won the World Cup. He is a congressman in Brazil because he had a child who had problems, and when he was campaigning for disability rights, he decided he might as well become a full-time politician. Then Vitaly Klitschko, three-time world heavyweight champion. He's currently the mayor of Kiev. He was actively involved in the uprising in Ukraine that overthrew an existing government. And then there's Manny Pacquiao, former world champion. He first won election to Congress in 2010. He's a senator, one of those few who still juggles in between boxing and doing their Senate job. He did box last year in Australia while still a member of the Filipino Senate. And a reminder that you would get full highlights of the Australia Open at 11 p.m. here on TV3. You can see Super Sport. That's all the sports for now. Tomorrow we'll be back with more story, including an intriguing story on skate soccer. In the meantime, Natalie and Issa will take up the news from here.
Welcome back to News 360. Time now for some international news. And George Weah was among several other leaders. President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo was among several other African leaders who witnessed the swearing-in ceremony of former international footballer George Weah as president of Liberia. President Weah pledged to fight corruption and improve the economy of the country.
The ceremony is Liberia's first transition between democratically elected leaders since 1944. President Akufo-Addo was among hundreds of dignitaries who witnessed the swearing-in ceremony. President George Weah thanked his predecessor, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, for ensuring peace in Liberia.
We have learned that equality and freedom are never just a final destination that the people or a nation reaches. These are the fundamental human rights that our people deserve, and that must be held up and measured against our action, our policy, our laws, and our people are those elected to serve the people.
He pledged to fight corruption and improve living conditions of the people.
We are responsible to deliver the change you deserve. Indeed, we must deliver the change that our people need in order to transform our lives for the better.
We'll see how it goes there for President George Weah. We've got some more news for you here on News 360 shortly. Stay with us.
In Arts Entertainment News Tonight, award-winning actress Lydia Forson started her day on a rather unfortunate note. There was an attempted physical assault on the Perfect Picture actress by a man believed to be a security officer as she visited a location cantonment for a photo shoot on Monday morning. Osu Rai has more.
Don't do stupid thing. What have I done? I have the right.
A video of Lydia Forson being confronted by a man believed to be a security officer has been circulating on social media. Reports indicate the gifted actress in the company of others had visited a location at cantonments for a shoot, but was ordered by a man not to film. This led to a disagreement and later a confrontation. There was an attempted physical assault on the outspoken actress as tempers flared.
Don't do stupid thing. What have I done? I have the right. I have the right to hold my phone. I have the right to hold my phone and record, but I want to record. Don't make calls. Please don't make calls. I'm a citizen of this country. I know my rights. Who do you think you know that? What are you going to do?
The exchanges could have gotten uglier, but for passers-by.
Man you saw in there tried to physically assault me. And then he said he could beat me and get away with it because his authority was so that he could. Imagine a security official in our country, in government, walking around thinking they have that kind of power to beat a woman and get away with it.
Touch me! Touch me! You think you are? This man right here says that his authority says...
Well, certainly a rather disturbing one there from Lydia Forson. On to other entertainment stories this evening. International beauty pageants are known for being very competitive. However, for Ruth Kwashi, Miss Universe Ghana 2017, being housed with 91 other ladies during the world finals of the competition was the best experience of her life. She shared her experience with TV3's Solis Rose Corte.
Next to advance is
24 years old, 5'11" and $1 million smile. Ruth Kwashi warmed her way into the hearts of Ghanaians when she became the first Ghanaian to have made the cut for the round of 16 at the Miss Universe pageant in 19 years.
Ghana! Ghana's Akuba Kuju is...
In 1999, Akuba Kuju became the first Ghanaian to get into the top 10.
I heard you say that if you won your national title, you didn't know if you would laugh or cry. But if you won Miss Universe tonight, what would you do?
I'm going to laugh throughout.
She may not have won, but she laughed anyway.
Yeah, I was actually laughing throughout at the backstage. They even had a Snapchat live of me just laughing, not because I made it to top 16, but the fact that I was actually recognized.
People's perceptions about pageants in general is very sketchy. Like it's a front for some sort of an escort service. All the girls think about is how they look and that it's without essence. What's your take?
There isn't much platforms that encourage women and the embodiment of women and how a lady is supposed to act in public and all that. It's not just about looking beautiful. You should be able to be current with the current issues. What is beauty without brains? It's nothing.
With 92 ladies housed at the Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, there must have been some friction, right?
It was very surprising. We had no fights. There was no she said, someone said, nothing. It ran smooth. I was like, are these girls faking it? So I was actually waiting for when, you can't fake for too long. I was waiting for when the fake would die off. That was after the preliminary competition, but it was still the same.
The University of Ghana Business School alumnus shared her plans for the future.
Smile Train is as an organization that does corrective surgery for lip and cleft palate. They raise funds for these surgeries to be done because these kids are born with it. There's nothing they could possibly do about it. I'm taking each day at a time. You cannot master your life in one day.
This is going to be about all ladies tonight, and Ghanaian actress and model Christabel Ike made headlines in 2017 following the release of her nude pictures. Now, a new video posted on her Instagram page shows the actress in lingerie looking all sultry. Now, how have her followers been reacting to her latest video?
Christabel Eke came under severe backlash as many described the release of her nude photographs as a move to seek cheap attention. Others, including popular relationship counselor Lutrot, blamed her conduct on parenting error. The actress, however, claimed in July last year that uploading the nude images was her way of welcoming everyone to the new Christabel. Nevertheless, fans condemned the act. Just as the dust seemed to have settled, the bubbly actress is in the news again. In a video on Instagram on January 21, the actress is seen dressed in lingerie in her latest photo shoot. Whilst some fans appeared okay with the video, many others expressed complete disapproval. Nanefia, her follower, commented, "You started with this madness. New you? No dear, old you. You need help." Another fan, Orayiri Asiedu, wrote, "Chai, it's a lie. It is still the old one." Vashti Abi wrote, "What the heck is this?" One other follower who found the video offensive couldn't help but attack with unprintable language. But in all this, there are others who still think all is not well with the wrong target actress, wondering why she takes delight in exposing her nudity.
Right, that's it for this edition of News 360. My concern was about Lydia Forson.
Yes, it's certainly a worrying situation.
Yeah, definitely. It can happen to any of us.
Yeah.
I mean, in the media, in journalism,
to that
in
extent,
television, movies, yeah. But I think the right permission probably should have sorted. Maybe, I don't know the security she was breaching at that point.
I don't know, yeah. It's not clear which one she was breaching, but she certainly did make it known and action would be taken.
Right, I am Isa Moni. Thanks for watching.
And I'm Natalie Ford. Special thanks to Solace Rose Kwante for filling in for me during my absence. Thanks so much for watching and have a lovely evening.